I am too proud ever to allow myself to care for a man who does not love me. Yes, I don't say so either. Only one thing. Tell me the truth, said Darya Alexandrovna, taking her by the hand. Tell me, did Levin speak to you? The mention of Levin's name seemed to deprive Kitty of the last vestige of self-control. She leapt up from her chair, and flinging her clasp on the ground, she gesticulated rapidly with her hands and said, "Why bring Levin in too? I can't understand what you want to torment me for. I've told you, and I say it again, that I have some pride, and never, what I do as you're doing go back to a man who's deceived you, who has cared for another woman." I can't understand it. You may, but I can't. And saying these words she glanced at her sister, and seeing that Dolly sat silent, her head mournfully bowed, Kitty, instead of running out of the room as she had meant to do, sat down near the door, and hid her face in her handkerchief. The silence lasted for 2 minutes. Dolly was thinking of herself. That humiliation of which she was always conscious came back to her with a peculiar bitterness when her sister reminded her of it. She had not looked for such cruelty in her sister, and she was angry with her. But suddenly she heard the rustle of a skirt, and with it the sound of heartrending, smothered sobbing, and felt arms about her neck. Kitty was on her knees before her. "Delinka, I am so wretched," she whispered penitently. And the sweet face covered with tears hid itself in Darya Alexandrovna's skirt. As though tears were the indispensable oil, without which the machinery of mutual confidence could not run smoothly between the two sisters, the sisters after their tears talked, not of what was uppermost in their minds, but, though they talked of outside matters, they understood each other. Kitty knew that the words she had uttered in anger about her husband's infidelity and her humiliating position had cut her poor sister to the heart, but that she had forgiven her. Dolly for her part knew all she had wanted to find out. She felt certain that her surmises were correct, that Kitty's misery, her inconsolable misery, was due precisely to the fact that Levin had made her an offer and she had refused him, and Vronsky had deceived her, and that she was fully prepared to love Levin and to detest Vronsky. Kitty said not a word of that. She talked of nothing but her spiritual condition. I have nothing to make me miserable, she said, getting calmer, but can you understand that everything has become hateful, loathsome, coarse to me, and I myself most of all? You can't imagine what loathsome thoughts I have about everything. Why, whatever loathsome thoughts can you have? Asked Dolly, smiling. The most utterly loathsome and coarse, I can't tell you. It's not unhappiness, or low spirits, but much worse. As though everything that was good in me was all hidden away, and nothing was left but the most loathsome. Come, how am I to tell you? She went on, seeing the puzzled look in her sister's eyes. Father began saying something to me just now. It seems to me he thinks all I want is to be married. Mother takes me to a ball, it seems to me she only takes me to get me married off as soon as may be, and be rid of me. I know it's not the truth, but I can't drive away such thoughts. Eligible suitors, as they call them, I can't bear to see them. It seems to me they're taking stock of me and summing me up. In old days to go anywhere in a ball dress was a simple joy to me, I admired myself, now I feel ashamed and awkward. And then, the doctor. Then, Kitty hesitated. She wanted to say further that ever since this change had taken place in her, Stepan Arkadyevitch had become insufferably repulsive to her, and that she could not see him without the grossest and most hideous conceptions rising before her imagination. Oh, well, everything presents itself to me, in the coarsest, most loathsome light, she went on. That's my illness. Perhaps it will pass off. But you mustn't think about it. I can't help it. I'm never happy except with the children at your house. What a pity you can't be with me. Oh, yes, I'm coming. I've had scarlatina, and I'll persuade Mama to let me. Kitty insisted on having her way, and went to stay at her sister's and nurse the children all through the scarlatina, for scarlatina it turned out to be. The two sisters brought all the 6 children successfully through it, but Kitty was no better in health, and in Lent the Sherbatskys went abroad. Chapter 4. The highest Petersburg society is essentially one. In it everyone knows everyone else. Everyone even visits everyone else. But this great set has its subdivisions. Anna Arkadyevna Karenina had friends and close ties in 3 different circles of this highest society. One circle was her husband's government official set, consisting of his colleagues and subordinates, brought together in the most various and capricious manner, and belonging to different social strata. Anna found it difficult now to recall the feeling of almost awe-stricken reverence which she had at first entertained for these persons. Now she knew all of them as people know one another in a country town. She knew their habits and weaknesses, and where the shoe pinched each one of them. She knew their relations with one another and with the head authorities, knew who was for whom, and how each one maintained his position, and where they agreed and disagreed. But the circle of political, masculine interests had never interested her, in spite of Countess Lydia Ivanovna's influence, and she avoided it. Another little set with which Anna was in close relations was the one by means of which Alexei Alexandrovich had made his career. The center of this circle was the Countess Lydia Ivanovna. It was a set made up of elderly, ugly, benevolent, and godly women, and clever, learned, and ambitious men. One of the clever people belonging to the set had called it the conscience of Petersburg society. Alexei Alexandrovich had the highest esteem for this circle, and Anna, with her special gift for getting on with everyone, had in the early days of her life in Petersburg made friends in this circle also. Now, since her return from Moscow, she had come to feel this set insufferable.